Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to this session on basic pedal board setup. Here we've got a real basic pedal board, not too complicated. And I want to just walk you through a couple things to consider as you're building your pedal board, or maybe you're going to tweak or reorganize your pedal board. Some things for like the modern worship that we play, and also all the songs that we play, and the style of delay and reverb that we kind of like lean into, the kind of things that you're going to want to think about having access to. Not necessarily the exact pedal, but the idea behind it. Let me walk you through real quick basic pedal order. And this can also be somewhat subjective. I'm just going to show you the way that I've done it here and why. Out of my guitar, I plug right in to the Wampler Ego, which is right here, which is a parallel compressor. And what that means is it gives you all of the benefits of compression, which is sustain, and it can manage your pick attack for you. And this one has a little tone knob, which kind of helps bring things kind of back to where they're supposed to be after you've compressed it. But also a parallel compressor, which is really important, I think. If you're going to use a compressor on your pedal board, that it has a blend knob, which all that means is that you can blend into the compressed sound your true bypassed signal. And so, well, that just sounds like this. Let me show you this real quick. Here is just guitar and amp. Sounds great, sustains fine, the amp and the guitar both sound really nice. What the compressor is going to do for me, the way that I set it up, it's going to just, I don't have it making any boost, or it's not going to increase my signal or sound at all as far as volume, but it will kind of grab my sound, kind of make it pop a little bit, and then also help it sustain at a similar volume to where I ended. So you can tell how that just really sustained a lot longer than the time before where I didn't have the compressor on. It's just really helpful for the compressor to grab your signal and help it be present and in your face and sustain for a long time. And it's really great when you're playing lead lines or light picking up top. What it does, even as you're lightly picking the guitar, it'll kind of help it just pop off there. And when you put delay and verb on there, it really helps out a lot. Now I'm playing really with just the compressor. I've got this Timmy pedal on right here, but it's really, I'm just really using that as like a clean boost, like always on before any dirt comes in. And it really just, the compressor really grabs that signal and really makes it pop. And so as you're considering a compressor, if you're considering a compressor, I would advise that it would be a parallel compressor, which means it has a blend knob. There's a bunch of them out there from varying price ranges. So let me know if you have any questions on that, and I can help point you in the right direction. So following the compressor, I go into these three drive pedals in order. The Timmy first, and then this Pettyjohn chime, and then this Pettyjohn iron drive. And from right to left, Timmy, chime, iron, increasing gain. And I use them in this pedal board setup to kind of individually have a gain stage, but as I stack them together, it kind of adds a little bit to there. So let me show you that. Here's just the Timmy. I'm going to leave the Timmy on and add the chime. I'm going to leave the chime on and add the iron. So you can just kind of see that I've got multiple layers of drive and gain at my fingertips. And really, with the hand dynamics if you use your right hand dynamically, you can have a lot of options too. So if I turn the chime on, this changed my pickup and lightened my attack. So finding a pedal, a drive pedal that's really transparent and dynamic with your attack will be really helpful. And again, if you have any questions about that, we can point you in 3 or 4 directions and you can kind of make your choice from there. So I wanted to show you something. Listen to the noise from those drive pedals. Now listen. The volume pedal, after your drive pedals, gives you the ability to kind of really clean up your signal when you're not playing, but also it helps you swell with a specific level of gain. So if you wanted to swell in, my volume on my guitar is completely up right now. You wanted to swell into something, alternatively, you could do that with your volume knob, but you'll have this noise. Or if you put your volume pedal at the beginning of your chain, you'll have noise. You can put the volume pedal at the end of your chain, but you'll lose some effects benefits, which I'll talk about in a second. But volume knob is completely down, all of my drive pedals are on, and here's that same swell. Now, this is a subjective conversation, but the reason that I like to put the volume pedal after the drives is because if I want to swell into a huge moment with a specific level of drive, I like it afterwards because I want that drive to stay exactly where I think it is in my head and then just introduce it via volume pedal. If I use my volume knob, what you're actually doing is you're introducing signal. So less signal, more signal, more signal, more signal, which actually changes the way that your gain pedals respond. Your gain pedals respond to signal, and if you use your volume knob, you're not swelling. It's hard to swell smoothly with your volume knob as well, but you're not swelling the exact gain sound that you want. You're swelling all of those gain stages together, but you're introducing no signal all the way to full signal in the process, whereas a volume pedal just lets full signal through at a lower volume. If that doesn't make any sense, talk to me in person and we can kind of get through that, but I would recommend that you put your volume pedal between your drives and your effects. So moving on, so compressor on this board, into a compressor, and then into my 3 stages of drive. And really it's 2 stages of drive because I never shut this Timmy off on this board. But 3 stages of drive into the volume pedal. The volume pedal has a tuner out on it, so like it splits my input signal and sends it one half of that signal to the tuner and the other half to the rest of my chain. And that's great because you can pull your volume pedal down even at full gain and you can still tune. And see how everything's responding with no noise versus this. And I can't tune with my volume pedal up and my volume knob down. No signal will get to the tuner. So another reason. If you had to pick 2 effects to really have on your board, you need a good delay and you need a good verb, especially in the modern rock worship context we live, which is very ethereal and very effects heavy. We do a lot of swelling and we do a lot of delay specific wet effects. And so here I have the Eventide time factor and the Big Sky, the Strymon Big Sky. I am a huge proponent of the Eventide time factor, probably mostly because I bought one like 9 years ago and it hasn't left my board since, and so I really know this pedal. So I can help you if you have any questions about this one. But another reason I love this pedal, it was really the first delay pedal that was like a model digital delay pedal that had 2 independent delays that you could access in it. I think that's important. You can do 2 delays with 2 delay pedals, and there are other delay pedals out there for sure. We have a bunch of them around our culture that do dual delay. This was just one of the first ones, and it's one of the ones that I learned and one of the ones that I understand. And sometimes you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and so I may be guilty of that. But I love the way that it sounds. The algorithms are great, and it's MIDI capable, and I'll talk about MIDI in a second. But a good delay pedal that gives you digital and analog sounds and modulation possibilities, but 2 delays is important. There's a lot of times that we play a song that needs to have that kind of dual delay gallop, and let me show you what I mean by that. For instance, our song Awakening, 12-song worship song that we released 2017, has 2 different delay settings, and each of them have 2 separate delays happening at the same time. So and let me turn off the reverb for a second. Here's the delay. You hear how that kind of has a gallopy sound to it? I use that sound to swell with, and it'll sound like this. Now, when you swell, you can't necessarily hear the gallopy delay thing, but it does help your sound just kind of flow and bloom a little bit with the reverb. But there are some times that you need to play wide open with delay, and for instance, the turnaround on Awakening with the little hook in it, got a different delay sound. Here's the first one I showed you. So as you can hear in that, the delay does a lot of work and the reverb does a lot of work kind of making your clean sound pop and swell and bloom and just all sorts of cool things to do that. Again, there are a lot of delay pedals out there and multiple delay pedals that do dual delay, but I would encourage you to kind of think about one that can do 2 delays at the same time. I'm not going to get into how that all works on the Eventide, but if you have one, you have questions, let me know. If you have another one, another delay pedal like the Empress that might do 2 delays at the same time, let me know and we'll point you to the right person who can help you kind of learn that pedal. And then a good reverb. I really use 3, sometimes 4 reverbs total, and I never change them. I kind of found some reverbs that I feel like do a good job at supporting the kind of style of guitar that we play. And I don't tweak my verb for every single song. I kind of have a light verb, a medium verb, and a wet verb, and then I have one that I call trill, which is really, really wet with a long decay and a heavy mix. And then really I use that for some swelling, and I also use it for like that fast, trilly, overdriven delay thing that you hear in a lot of sounds. So let me walk you through a couple of the verb sounds. Here's like my light haul. Just like something that I can just play. I can play with that and it doesn't overtake my sound, it doesn't overtake my drive. Just adds a little bit of life and a little bit of body to my sound. So I'll just step that up from there. I'll maybe use that if I'm playing rhythm guitar. I rarely play rhythm guitar dry, But if I were to be on the dry end, I would use that light delay. So here's the next verb that I use. This is a medium, and it's quite a bit wetter than the light, but you hear how it just kind of trails and kind of carries things. I still play chords with that. Trails nicely, it fills the sound out nicely. It doesn't, and I have a lot of, my transient is really present in almost all of my reverbs. I don't like to do too much pre-delay, which would take away my pick attack. I like to hear my pick attack, and I like the reverb to kind of act right away, and then I manage the trail and the decay and the mix from there. But that's like a medium sound, and then I really just take that same sound and I make it a longer decay and a deeper mix. Here's the wet one. And that's just the verb. When you add the delay back in there, the delay takes your pick attack, and then it repeats it, and then it feeds it into the reverb, and the reverb takes it and helps it just all live. And so if you're gonna do some swells, wet reverb with delay is great. But also you can add drive and you can play chords. Here's another example. That can go on for a long time depending on what you have set. So there's a lot of options inside of there, but I only showed you 3 reverbs and a couple delays for one song, but find the delay. I change my delays for every song. My reverbs kind of stay the same because I feel like a light, a medium, and wet kind of do the job rather than chasing specific reverb sounds for everything that you do. So let me recap really quick, and then I'll explain this little MIDI device for you. You don't have to have a compressor, but if you do, try to get one that has a blend control where you can get your dry signal in there so you don't lose your pick attack, but you still get the benefits of the compressor grabbing and sustaining your sound. Into a couple stages of drive, I would recommend a minimum of 2 overdrive pedals so that you can have clean, no pedal, first stage drive, second stage drive with the first one off, and then stack them. So that could look like this. You could do first stage drive, second stage drive, third stage stack, without having the third pedal. But if you want 3 stages of drive, you could do that as well. And so I just do, again, I use the Timmy as kind of like an always on clean boost, a little bit of grit added to it. Compressor drive stages into a volume pedal. Volume pedal between your wet effects and your drives. And then a delay and a reverb, and if you could find a delay that has dual delay capability, I think that'd be really wise as you're chasing specific sounds. A lot of people are using like programmable loopers, so they don't have to tap dance and touch pedals, and that's not really financially available for everybody because some of those things can get pretty pricey. I don't mind tap dancing drive stages, but I really don't like it when I'm messing with my wet effects, because often on certain songs I have to change from a different delay and a different verb almost immediately, and I just can't do this twice. Bank up on the delay and bank up on the reverb, and I end up just like making sacrifices. So this little guy right here is a really affordable MIDI controller, and there's a smaller version of this that's really pretty affordable as well that just does 2 devices. You can plug a MIDI cable into both of them, and then you can program a one-touch bank change for both of them. So, and you can turn on and off your pedals. So I turn on and off both of them at the same time. Just with the touch of a button. I'm not touching either one of those pedals. And I've pre-programmed preset 1, you can see that P1, to use this delay and this medium verb. And with a touch of a button, it's going to go a wet reverb and the next delay. And so that allows me to play to craft sounds and hit parts that are often done in a studio on different tracks. The guys in studios play this and they'll stop and they'll play the next part and they'll stop and play the next part. A MIDI controller to hit my effects really allows me to not miss downbeats and moments and certain vibes of them. So ask me about that if you have any questions. Ask really any of our guitar players. A lot of people are using this, just an affordable MIDI controller for your 2 wet effects. Again, it's not a requirement. You can get away with smaller, less capable delay and reverb and just kind of put them all at your feet and manage it with your foot. We did that for years. There wasn't even such thing as a MIDI controller for your MIDI effects on your pedal board. It was always rack-mounted stuff back then. And so it's totally possible to make it without spending a ton of money on effects. But if you are looking to invest in a rig that can work for you, hit us up and we'll try to help you make good decisions and at least help you get to a place where you don't have a really expensive MIDI controller, but just something that helps you hit presets quickly. This little guy right here changed my life. I've since upgraded on my personal rig, but this thing really, really is helpful. So if you have any questions about this or how to set up your board, send us pictures of your rig. Send us clips of you playing or bring it to our Meta Lab and we'll kind of walk you through as much as we can to help you accomplish what you need to.